That annoying bubble you get in the middle of the nail when a client comes back or happens to you. How did it happen? How can you prevent it? Let's learn more about that type of lifting in today's video. All right, so here are two nails, mine of course, that have experienced pocket lifting. Created this big pocket inside of the center of the natural nail there. And I want to share with you why it happened and also how you can prevent it, how we're going to be fixing it. Okay, so how did it happen? Well, I was setting up a wire fence for my ducks, and I was using gloves for sure, but there was a lot of pulling and pressing on the nail. And it was both in like this direction, like I said, I was like holding things, and then also like with the nail itself, like just pulling at things. Like I wasn't using my nails, at least not intentionally. Sure, like it would have gotten caught maybe here and there, but that constant pressure of like doing this like downward, and also like this, like trying to like pinch things, like pry things with the whatever prior tool that I was using. Eventually when I got home, I knew that I had not really like snapped my nails, because I don't remember an incident like that where it hurt. But when I got back home, I was like, ooh, I got two pocket lifting, not just one. And so I was like, how did that happen? I was like, oh yeah, I was like using pressure constantly to like flip these like metal pins on the gate. So either way, this has to be gone within like 3 days after you've seen it, because otherwise you will experience moisture getting trapped, and then you're going to have that greenies, the bacteria, what is called as Pseudomonas aeruginosa or whatnot. But it is a bacteria, it's not a fungus, that greeny under the nail, and you do want to take care of it ASAP. This one is already kind of turning colors, like it even shows to the camera like a little yellowy. If I don't take this off like today, tomorrow, this is surely going to turn into a greenie underneath, because the moisture is getting trapped underneath there. Okay, this one can survive a little longer, but no, we are gonna dive right into the removal process. And for me, removal involves a medium grit or a fine carbide bit, because this is semi-hard soak-off builder gel. Okay, so technically it's a soft gel, but with semi-hard rigidity. And I do want to file it very gentle. It's not hard gel where I'm like trying to go in there and get like all of this debulking done. So I'm going to be using one of my favorites, which is this fine carbide by STALECKS. But if you know me, you know I am a ceramic girly. And that's because once you get down to the natural nail, you can use your ceramics a little bit more confidently on the natural nail. You still don't want to scoop up any keratin, because you will be thinning the nail. At this point, I know I'm going to be making a lot of contact with the natural nail, so I'm actually going to be switching over to my ceramic bit, because again, if I do touch the nail, it removes product more gently than the carbide. The carbide will just, it's like taking a razor to the nail. That's how it's felt for me. Medium grit ceramic. okay, because I'm getting very close to the nail, and here I'm gonna have to remove a lot of product, so I want a bigger tool to do that. Just say your tool has to match the job. So if it's a big job, grab a bigger barrel. If you just need to remove something thin, or you're doing the underneath, that's a smaller job, so obviously you will need something more narrow. Now it's very important for you to know that when you are removing product this much that has lifted, or even if it was a smaller lift, you don't want to try to dig it out or cut it out. You want to kind of file flat over it until it sort of comes up on its own. So let's try that. Maybe we'll have to dig just a tiny bit to loosen it up or cut it off, but this is how you want to, generally speaking, remove it, and is to file right over the part that is still attached and lifted. Let's take a look at the progress. As you can see, the lifting is pretty gnarly. At this point, I could kind of just see what comes off on its own. And then we'll see what needs more work. As you can see here at the cuticle area, it's sealed. That means that this was not a problem with my cuticle work. Like, it definitely sealed and whatnot. But you can see here on the body, we are still quite attached. So I want to continue to put my abrasive, whether that's my sanding bit or my, I should say my ceramic bit, or you can actually do it by a hand file. And since I'm getting close, I'm going to try to just do it with a hand file. If you file right over that, that is going to just come off on its own. You see that already came off right there. Now I need to loosen it up by doing the same thing here. And there it goes. I'm gonna take this one, since this one can be disinfected, I'm gonna put it over the nail. As much as I love this, for every little speck of dust, we can't disinfect that. Okay. Let me just wipe it visual on the nail. And as you can see, I mean, there is clearly some discoloration there, coloration really, of that green pigment that bacteria generates. And we caught it right in time before it turned into kind of penetrating the nail plate and then looking really, really ugly, especially if you're going to be doing like a translucent color, right? This is not going to be cute. All right, so what I do from here is just make sure everything's flat. Anything that is still lifting, I remove, and then I would proceed to reapplying the nail. How do we avoid this? So my nails, you have to know this, my nails are very, very flexible. They might look strong in some of my videos. They might look, you know, long and healthy and all that. But the truth is that we all have different levels of flexibility in our nail. And that can be because we just genetically have strong nails or whatnot, or it can be because some have more keratin layers or thicker keratin layers on their nail. It could also be because some have better hydration, like moisture in their nails, or maybe kind of like oils, and so that allows the nails to be more flexible also. But if the nails are brittle, if the nails are dry, if the keratin layers are thin, most of the times we can't do much to reinforce or make our natural nails healthier. You just have what you were born with, in a way. You got what you got, okay? That is why we put enhancements. That's why us as nail artists will pretty much always have a job, right? A career, because clients are gonna need us to enhance the natural look and feel of their nails. So I'm gonna give you a pointer that's going to work, I would say, on 9 out of 10 of your clients when they experience this. Okay, and watch out for the thumbs, because your moms that press the children's car seat button are gonna reach for that thumb and just gonna use it as their release button for that car seat. But they do sell tools specifically for that. One big tip that I'm gonna give you to fix this is to go ahead and add a little more texture to the natural nail before you apply your gel. That's going to decrease the possibility of that pocket lifting, and also keep track of what you are putting on the nails, because it's most likely that the natural nail underneath was very flexible and the product was not necessarily that hard, but the nail was more flexible, and so it just kind of tore away during that flexing rather than holding on with the product. Okay, so your incompatibility wasn't like super big. In other words, like the product that you put on wasn't perhaps too hard. It's just that natural nail is very flexible, which is the case. Me raising my hands, both hands, it's the case with me. Like that happens to me very often. Not very often, but like twice a year or so, right? And I know that because my nails are naturally more flexible. And when we are creating that texture on the nail, we are not removing keratin. We are leaving texture behind so that the gel can grip a little bit better next time that nail flexes, however way, you know, whether you're trying to reach for something and you're like, ow, or if you go the other way and then it just bends. Either way, whether you go this way or that way, this way or that way, the nail will flex and you will end up with that pocket lifting, okay? I wouldn't recommend more primer or etching the nail more with like a sanding band and really making it like, you know, gritty, because if you thin down that natural nail, guess what? You just made it more flexible because it has less keratin and it's less firm, right? So don't do that. You just want to create more texture. And this is probably also happening if you have previously thinned down the nails significantly, all right? So that is how a bubble lifting happens. It happens with a snap. It bends it inward or outward. And the way you want to fix it is by adding a little more texture to the natural nail. And if you understand flexibilities, then so if you were using a hard gel builder or a semi-hard gel builder, make sure that you're also using a soft gel base underneath to match the compatibility of that very flexible nail to that more solid product so that they move together, they work together and not apart and start peeling away from each other. So I hope that helped. And if you want to learn 4 more tips on how to master lifting, whether you're getting it at the cuticle area or the free edge, I created a mini course for you that's going to help you solve lifting once and for all if you are pretty versed already with how to apply gel nails. So if you already know how to apply gel nails and you're having these annoying problems, check out that mini course where I will reveal those 5 secret techniques on how to deal with lifting. I'll link it down below in the description or in the comments section of this video. I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.